عشان أدري كيف يوجههم أحد
والله
كلمة
أنا بس أنا عرفت البنات. Okay.
the
خلاص اي عقوبة ثانية اي سبب
بس
'Hello'. زين؟ اوكي.
جيبها يتوقع هي شبه
5 minutes and now we'll start. Hello. Good morning, and for everyone listening today, thank you. بسمع نفسي. Good morning and welcome. For everyone listening today, thank you. Okay, then. من غير ما Good morning and welcome. For everyone attending today, thank you. Thank you for caring enough about the environment and our planet. As the youth of this country, it's important that we get more educated about the ongoing issues that are happening. Today,
Sorry I'm late. I didn't miss anything important, did I?
unbelievable. I told you a million times not to be late.
Wait, what are we doing again?
Nora, the countdown.
The countdown? Ah, yes, the environmental thing I'm supposed to know about.
The environmental thing. Don't tell me you didn't do your research.
I did, don't worry.
Thank God. Would you mind reciting the 5 R's for me, please?
5 R's? What?
So you didn't do your research.
No, I did. The 5 R's.
Disconnect all.
ما أدري ليش كذا يمس طب يطلع شكله بعدين ها؟ بس خلي هذا كاونتداون واحنا بس بعدين شير انت شو بدك تعملي؟ هذا ليش؟ هذا ليش عملتي انت؟ هذا البرزنتيشن راح تشرح فيه بنات، ليش تشرحوا في البنات؟ خلاص انت حاطين غاضي في الفيديو، طيب خلاص نفتح بس الكاميرا من دون هذا؟ ايوه طيب خلاص انت اللي عندك الفيديو خلاص البرزنتيشن انت عندك من هنا وين الخيارات؟
Good morning and welcome. For everyone listening today, thank you. Thank you for caring enough about the environment and our planet. As the youth of this country, we should be more educated about the ongoing issues that are happening. After all, we are the future. Today,
Sorry I'm late. I didn't miss anything important, did I?
unbelievable. I told you a million times not to be late.
Wait, what are we doing anyways?
You can't be serious right now. Nura, the countdown.
The countdown? Oh, the environmental thing I'm supposed to know about.
The environmental thing. Don't tell me you didn't do your research before.
I did, don't worry.
Thank God. Would you mind reciting the 5 R's for me, please?
The 5 R's? What?
So you didn't do your research.
No, I did, the 5 R's. We all know the 5 R's, right? You know them. Relaxation, Rihanna? No?
What did I expect anyways? It's your first time, so I'll give you a break. For our first participant, please pay close attention, Nora. Give it up for Hussein Al-Amran. He will be giving a speech about the 5 R's.
Assalamu alaikum. Today I want to talk about a pressing environmental issue. Now it's not global warming, it's not climate change, it's not pollution. I'm here to talk about human waste. Yes, human waste. So does anyone have a solution to fix this issue? Now, Assalamu alaikum. Today I want to talk about a pressing environmental issue. Now it's not global warming, it's not climate change, it's not pollution. I'm here to talk about human waste. Yes, human waste. So does anyone have a solution to fix this issue? Now answer to that is not hard, but changing our lifestyle is the hard thing. So that's why I'm here to guide you to change your lifestyle with 5 steps. And you should know about the 5 R's. Refuse, reduce, reuse, wash, and recycle. So let's start with the first leading step, which is refuse. Refuse everything we don't really need. Refuse helps eliminate a lot of waste from the start. Examples of practical tips: refuse single-use items, like refusing plastic bottles and replace it with stainless steel bottles, which that can conserve the temperature of the liquid and can be recycled infinite times without losing its quality, unlike plastic bottles. Another practical tip: refuse packaged items. So how can I even refuse packaged items? It's everywhere. But unless you do not go to bulk stores, you can find the exact quantity for your receipt. And don't forget to take your reusable bags and your glass containers. The second step: reduce everything we have around us. But it's not a matter of literally getting rid of everything we have, but about asking ourselves, is it worthwhile? Do I need it? And buy second-hand items and donate used goods. By purchasing second-hand items, we're supporting local charities and saving up items from ending up in the landfills. The third step: reuse, which is a method of using something again. Reuse helps us as well as the environment. Reusing helps also in saving money, time, energy, and resources. For example, in my kitchen, I prefer to save food in glass containers. It can be filled multiple times after being empty. Also reusing old fabrics for making a new clothing, or if it's not suitable for that, to make them useful again by using them as cleaning rags. The fourth step, what? Which is making a valuable resource from food waste and organics by home composting. And to compost, you must have a wooden bin, fill it with 3 parts brown to 1 part green. Examples of brown: wood chips, cardboard. Examples of green: fruits, vegetables, and coffee grounds. Usually it takes from 6 weeks to 8 weeks to be ready. And keep it moisture but not too wet. So what's its benefit first? Well, it will provide you with rich nutrients that help your plants to thrive and flourish, reduce waste to the landfills, and reduce the needed for chemical fertilizers. The fifth step, which is recycle, which is the process of which used materials are converted into new products. And it's important to note that recycle is a process that requires energy and resources. Materials we can recycle: paper, glass, metal, plastic. And the first thing you need to do to make the recycling process more functional is to set a bin and divide it into compartments to what it will store. After collecting, call a representative from recycling programs to pick up the recycled materials and send it to the facility. In the end, I want to note to an important thing. Big change starts with small actions, so don't be overwhelmed by doing all these steps at once. For continuity, go gradually. Thank you.
Thank you to Hussein Lamran for presenting his speech about the 5 R's. Now we will present a video that perfectly explains what we will do today.
No, those 5 R's make so much more sense.
I bet they do. As you know, I do this for you to get more educated. So if you have any questions, please ask.
Well, my electric bill has been skyrocketing lately. So if you know any way I can reduce the amount I'm paying, I'd be very grateful. Wait, I'm supposed to ask you about the environment, right? Never mind.
Well, yes, but I think I have a way of both educating you and helping you.
Really?
about the environment.
How so?
Give it up for Yasmin Musa and Nira Dosiri to cite a poem written by Shadal Jajal to help you all about solar panels. This is a poem written by Shadal Jajal, cited by Yasmin Musa and Nira Dosiri. Don't you know what I go through just to provide you with a source to live? Can't you feel what I feel? The way hydrogen escapes from me every single day. Humans around you This is a poem written by Shadam Jaljan, cited by Yasmin. This is a poem written by Shadam Jaljan, cited by Yasmin al-Musa and Nir al-Dawsari. Don't you know what I go through just to provide you with a source to live? Can't you feel what I feel? The way hydrogen escapes from me every single second makes me closer to my death, and you humans are belittling my effort, and I'm still living each second of what's left to support you, yet you still don't use my full potential.
I send everything towards your earth without leaving any crumbs and exert effort by doing that. Yet, you still don't appreciate my hard work. I can grant you everything from a source to live to the energy you use, yet you still don't use my full potential. I am totally free, yet you still choose to waste your money.
Humans around you have tried and sweated tears to figure out a way to use my full potential. Yet, you still don't listen. They dug out inventions from nowhere, yet you still don't give it the benefit of the doubt. Your earth is dying, and you're just sitting there and watching. You should do something.
Each minimal effort is not going in vain. Use my power. Produce electricity using me. Save your earth using me. My time's running out. Use solar panels to save your earth.
You really should switch to solar. We really should switch to solar panels sooner.
Right? They're so much more friendly to the environment.
Well, I was thinking about all the money I'd save up, but sure, that too. Also, I've noticed something recently.
What is it?
Well, I was looking at my grandparents' old photos, and I've noticed that it was so much greener back then. I even asked my grandmother, and she said that there were more than 7 hot streams and treat fruits back then. Could you imagine that here?
Yeah, I've noticed that too. And I think it's the cause of desertification. So give it up for Ghalaf Haid, Johar al-Malham, and Fatma al-Nahawi to present a speech about desertification.
The picture you see here is how Saudi Arabia looked like a few years ago. And this is how Saudi Arabia looks like today. This is a result of what we call desertification. So what desertification is a process by which fertile land in the planet's dry regions starts losing its productive capacity and becomes an unproductive desert land. So desertification is not a new phenomenon here in Saudi Arabia. However, it is going to be a very serious threat to the beautiful ecosystems that we have and to the urban and industrial areas. This is a result of an increase in sand movement, grazing, and cutting down trees in order to build houses, which is done a lot. So it's like a cycle if you think about it. The reduction in species diversity leads to an increase in sand and wind dynamics, and the cycle just keeps repeating. But a really important fact was mentioned by the Department of Physical Geography in Germany. They said that there is a potential recovery even in severely damaged areas. So with grazing management and camping regulations, we can prevent further degradation as well as allow the recovery of already damaged ecosystems. So here we found 3 ideas in which we can use to reduce desertification in Saudi Arabia.
The first idea is using magic stones. So what are magic stones? They are circles of stones that are placed on the ground, so it would hold water on the soil rather than let it run quickly across the surface, and this also reduces soil erosion. Here, I made an experiment to see the effect of using magic stones on the plants. So I got two plants, one with magic stones and the other without. And I used a soil moisture tester and found that the plant with magic stones holds more water than the plant without.
So our second idea was to paint roads with lighter colors to prevent desertification in Saudi Arabia. So our hypothesis was that darker colors absorb more heat. But why do black colors absorb more heat? Because as you can see in the picture, darker colored objects like black objects absorb all wavelengths of light and reflect none, unlike lighter colored objects which reflect all wavelengths of light and therefore absorb the least amount of heat. So in order to test that hypothesis, I found an experiment done by students just like us in which they placed two containers and wrapped each in paper, one in darker colored paper and one in lighter colored paper. They placed each in front of a heat lamp and used a thermometer to record the results. They recorded the results every 5 minutes, and as we expected, the results showed that there was a rise in temperature in both containers, but the darker colored container reached a higher temperature than the lighter colored container. So now you might ask yourself, what material is best for road construction, and can it even be painted? Is this all possible? So it is said that asphalt is easily the best material used for road construction, as using it offers a lot of benefits, including relatively low construction costs. And to answer the second question, yes, actually, it is said that a thin layer of colored asphalt could be applied onto either already existing or new surfaces. So when they made a computer model, it showed that an off-white colored asphalt surface could lower the average air temperature by 5 Celsius degrees, even in low wind speeds.
The third method we use to reduce desertification is by composting coffee beans and using it as a fertilizer instead of using normal soil. Before starting the process, we wanted to make sure whether using coffee beans was a great choice or not, and turns out that it is, because it provides key nutrients for plants. For instance, it can help attract worms to the soil, and it decreases the concentration of heavy metals in the soil. Not only is coffee beans a great choice for a fertilizer, but it also has a lot of benefits for plants. For instance, it can help capture the nitrogen from the air to the soil. It is also easy to use, and gardeners love to use coffee beans because it provides mulch for their plants. And it also prevents snails and worms from disrupting the soil. However, using coffee beans can be way too acidic for plants, so it is recommended to use 10 to 20% of the coffee beans in the soil. Now that we talked about the benefits, it is also crucial to know how to use them. There is a set of measurements and ingredients that you have to add. First of all, you have to put the soil evenly and spread it into a normal pot. After that, you have to add the leaves. And the measurements should be: a third of the pot should be filled with leaves, the other third should be filled with grass, and the last third should be filled with coffee grounds. It is also important to add an equivalent source of carbon, which could either be shredded paper or dried leaves. Then you have to mix them together well. After we were done with the experiment, we noticed that the chemical fertilizer, the coffee fertilizer, had a huge impact on plants because it produced a lot more crops, and it increased the crops and grew in a faster rate compared to normal soil. As you can see here, the growth rate reached from about 3 to 4. So this was the rate of increase for the plants. And then the yield was from 34 to 300, which also shows how it grew in a faster rate compared to normal soil. And our country took major steps through the Saudi General Authority of Meteorology and Environment Protection contribution, putting laws that contribute to the cause of desertification. Next time you see news like these, where lawbreakers are scraping soil without permission, or news like these where people are grazing lands without permission, remember that it is all for our well-being and Earth's well-being to counter the effects of desertification. Thank you.
I want to take photos as cool as the ones my grandparents have. So I really hope we reduce this sooner. Could you imagine my Instagram feed with all that greenery?
Totally. Your Instagram feed, as if it's the biggest issue right now.
Fatma, I was wondering, what if we just switched our civilization to an underwater one? Wouldn't that be so much easier than trying to fix this one?
First, that's not possible. Second, water is a part of our environment, so it's getting affected too.
Wait, really? How so?
Here's Noor al-Hamad to present a speech about how water is getting affected with the environment.
When I was a kid, my father bought me a small microscopic kit, and I adored it. I would constantly cut pieces of everything to observe them. And so over the years, I've developed a hobby of finding sea creatures and taking them to my science teacher to dissect them in the school laboratory. Up until now, I have found 2 types of fish, a crab, sea snails, a couple of types of sea plants, and a jellyfish. I remember that one time in summer vacation when I found a dead jellyfish and took it home. So I dissected it with my kit in an attempt to find or learn anything about the body of the jellyfish. And as you can imagine, I came out with nothing except finding its mouth. And what happened after I found out that I was left with 4 sets of 5-minute videos of me cutting a transparent, empty jellyfish is a story for another time. But you see, the point is that my passion and love for this whole other world that we know so little about led me to find that it is suffering from our actions, from problems that we caused on this earth, from problems we caused on the starting point of life. You know, the evidence indicate that the beginning of life on earth was inside these oceans billions of years ago, before a human soul set foot on this wondrous planet. And as Allah said in Surah Al-Anbiya, وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ. But what's happening now with global warming is the rise in ocean temperature. This increase in ocean temperature has greatly affected marine life and marine ecosystems by continuously decreasing the oxygen supply in the oceans, which is also increasing the rate of dead zone formation. Dead zones are areas in large bodies of water with low oxygen that fail to support marine life. Now, these dead zones have created changes in the food web. Since organisms have different oxygen demand, some can live and thrive in dead zones, while others have to immigrate to different areas. And species that cannot travel are unable to travel, often experience worsening stress behavior and die. So this change in the ocean's ecosystem has also decreased biodiversity among affected species. Now, this affects microbial life a bit differently, causing aerobic microbes to shift the energy source from oxygen to nitrates, sulfite, or ferric iron. And since hydrogen sulfide being toxic and stressful to most organisms, it further increases extinction risks. And we rely on these marine creatures to sustain us either by trade or food, so the decrease in many creatures and the change in their location will greatly affect regional stock and coastal communities, especially in low-income developing countries. In fact, some countries have already started illegally overfishing certain areas, starving thousands that survived over the marine life that has been swept away. And with the decrease in species, things will only get worse, causing more conflict around the world. Sadly, it doesn't end there. Dead zones have not only started forming in various locations, but coral reefs have also been affected by ocean deoxygenation. And although that mostly depends on the severity and duration of it, it has caused more coral bleaching, leading to more coral reefs transforming into dead zones. Now, coral bleaching is the process when corals become white due to various stressors such as changes in temperature, light, or nutrients. This process occurs by the expulsion of the algae that lives inside their tissue, after the algae no longer provides them with food, turning the corals white. And this symbiosis is disturbed as a result of heat stress. However, although bleached coral is alive, it is prone to starvation and disease that is more easily spread in low oxygen areas, thus affecting biodiversity of a large-scale ecosystem. For corals are home to about 25% of marine organisms, and millions of humans depend on coral reef fisheries and their accessibility. And economies worldwide rely on fisheries and the trade of marine life, making deoxygenation in coral reefs even more concerning because they take years to be repaired. But not all hope is lost. I have read about several research being done to remedy the effects of global warming on the oceans, including research being done in KAUST by Professors Manuel and Rackwell on breeding resilience to make organisms and corals accommodate to the changes in the waters. Several other acts are being done to address different problems, like the O2 system created to clean the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, which is estimated to contain 100,000 tons of plastic. And this is done by the Ocean Cleanup, which was founded by Boy and Slat at the age of 18. Now, these researchers, engineers, and everyone who had a hand in making such progress happen has most likely been told to not bother, that they could not change such global problems, that they were too young or too old. But here we are today, discussing their persistence and success. So if you are a scientist, do the research, do the work. If you are not a researcher, then donate to the effective research facilities. If you don't have the ability to donate, then return to Earth the favor, decrease your carbon footprint, recycle, begin walking down the path of a plastic-free society, and never undermine the effect of a hard-working, determined individual. Thank you.
Now, I might not know all the ins and outs of the environment, but I do know one thing, and that is how important water is for the sake of our survival, and how the deterioration of the environment causes water waste. Do you have any more information that could help me understand this topic better?
I sure do. Sarah Al-Garoud, Kayan, and Raihana are here to will help you know.
In this project, you're supposed to solve the problems in the environment. Each group chooses a problem to solve. So our group chooses water waste treatment. So we're supposed to find ideas and solutions to improve the water waste treatment. Water waste treatment has 4 important stages. The first stage is examination. In this stage, they remove the large dirt, for example, plastic. Stage 2, removing organic waste by putting large amount of water in containers to make the slugs go in the bottom. Stage 3 is secondary treatment. In this stage, water goes through aerobic bacteria to eat the remaining waste. The last stage, stage 4, is more filtration, then the water will go to the river or its place.
Water waste treatment has 3 major problems: smell, excess loss of algae, and excess amount of plastics. Smell. So I'm pretty sure we all have been through that situation where we pass through farms and we smell really bad smell. Sorry to break it for you, my friend, but that smell can cause many diseases, which cause the places around it to be unlivable. So before searching for solutions, we should know what is the root of the problem, what caused the problem. So after searching, we found out that the hydrogen sulfide, which is a gas that's released from bacteria and chemical compound in the water waste treatment, that can cause many diseases such as breathing problem, skin and eyes infections. Also, if the hydrogen sulfide was way too much, it can kill. Amines and mercaptans, which is a chemical compound that releases odor in the water waste treatment. Evaporation plays a major role in spreading the smell. As the water waste treatment evaporates, particles that release a smell will spread more. So now, after knowing the root of the problem, we should search for solutions. So we came up with this idea to cover the water waste treatment tank with black balls, and we choose black to emit light from reaching the water waste treatment. Also, because the balls are so close to each other, there is no much place for the particle to escape.
So before we present our solutions, let's talk about why finding a solution is actually important. First, huge amounts of chemicals affect environmental lives, including ours. Second of all, plastic is no doubt a major reason for climate change. Supposedly, a solution for the latter is very cool. We suggested using a very special type of bacteria that breaks the basic chemical bonds in the plastic basic structure and uses the carbon in those bonds as food. So it basically eats the plastic and uses it as an energy source. For the algae control, we suggested using an ultrasound device. An ultrasound device is a device that is environmentally friendly and uses ultrasonic waves of a certain frequency to destroy the chemical structure of the algae cells. One device can cover a huge area. This solution is non-chemical and is inexpensive. So these solutions make really good, suitable for finances. In the end, we have a choice. And with choice comes responsibility. We can choose to take action or we can choose not to. And this is our way of choosing to take action. Thank you for listening.
If we lose water, we lose life.
Correct. So let's try not to lose water. Now we have an interview prepared that touches up on plastic usages and ways to reduce it.
This is a very common sighting, but in reality, it's much more than that actually. With every little bit of plastic we see, it's adding up to 380 million tons of plastic globally, and just one person consumes 100 kilograms per year. Welcome to WCW, World Chat Wonder, and I'm your host Hur. And today we have two special guests to inform us on the current issue which we're all experiencing in our daily life, which is plastic. So here we have professional Dr. A.
Thanks for inviting me on your show.
Welcome. And active environmentalist Zainab.
Very happy to be here.
Of course. Let's start with defining plastic. What is plastic, Dr. A?
Well, plastic is made of polyethylene terephthalate, or PET for short, and that chemical is hard for most bacteria to break down, which makes it more harmful since it's not as easily biodegradable.
What have countries done to mitigate this problem?
Actually, countries do put effort to reduce this problem. Canada has a program where they clean the sea.
Oh yes, here's a video demonstrating the process.
The ocean cleanup has reached a critical milestone in the development of their ocean cleaning technology, and recently announced that the nonprofit had reached proof of technology with the Ocean Cleanup System 2 during a recent press event held in Victoria, Canada. The Ocean Cleanup showed off their latest catch of over 9,000 kilograms of plastic waste collected in a single haul, dumping it out in dramatic fashion for all the world to see. CEO Boyan Slat took to the stage in Victoria Harbour, joined by members of the Ocean Cleanup team, to announce that the cleanup would begin the very next day, as they begin to deploy teams and ocean cleanup systems to the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. System 2, called Jenny, named after the famous character in the film Forrest Gump, differs from its predecessor System 1, aka Wilson, also named after a character from a different Tom Hanks movie, in that it's being towed at a very slow speed, about 1.5 knots, by two large vessels through the ocean, catching floating ocean plastic along the way. The barrier extends about 3 meters below the surface and is completely open in the center, allowing for fish to escape by simply swimming down below the barrier. As water flows through the system, the plastic gets pushed to the center, which acts like a collection area, which the ocean cleanup calls the retention zone. After a period of time, the vessels connect both ends of the giant loop to one ship. while the other ocean cleanup vessel maneuvers to the retention zone and pulls in the net, collecting and later sorting the plastic pollution before bringing it back to shore to be processed into pelletized plastic for manufacturing recycled goods.
Isn't that amazing? Well, if that's how much a country can do to help the situation, how much can one person do alone? We have Zainab, who's gone plastic free. How did you start this journey?
Yes, when I was living in the UK, my mother saw how impractical it was to be using so many plastic bags whenever we went shopping. So she replaced those plastic bags with just 2 large reusable bags for 6 years. Then I also learned that we are indirectly consuming harmful chemicals from plastic straws, cups, containers, and more, since with time those chemicals seep into your food. But I've replaced all of these with metal straws, reusable cups, and metal containers.
Since then, do you think other people in Saudi are doing anything about it?
There has been articles on how Saudi will impose laws on plastic use, including one that I have read that mentioned that according to the Responsible Saudi Organization SASO, plastic products must be made of an approved oxy-biodegradable material. But I've also noticed that a simple drive around the city will show you that there is quite a bit of plastic trash cluttering the environment.
More people use a reusable like you did. We could save up to 10% of plastic waste from entering the ocean.
Actually, there's a campaign that you can join which is called BE. They've recently done a challenge to go shopping plastic free. Okay, so our time's up. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and thank you to our extra special guests for their insightful appearance on my show. See you next time on WCW. World Chat Wonder.
It's so crazy that something we so commonly use is one of the biggest factors in affecting our environment. We should really be more watchful of what we do.
Correct.
Also, over the past while, I've noticed that the prices of organic honey have been exponentially increasing. I've been falling back on other replacements to sweeten my smoothies, but nothing quite beats the taste of organic honey.
The high prices are due to bee extinction. The more rare, the rarity of bees leads to the rarity of honey. So, and that causes prices to increase. Wedge, Zainab, and Noor and Zainab are here to present to further educate us on bee extinction.
Exactly. It was so fun. Hi guys. So, did you start the research yet?
What research exactly?
Where we have to find the biggest problems facing us right now?
Yeah, actually, I did my research last week, and it turns out that the biggest problem we're up against is bee extinction.
Yeah, it means that we will lose biodiversity, our food won't be secured, nor will have sustained farming income.
Well, that actually makes sense since bees are responsible for like over 70% of vegetables, fruits, and nuts. And actually, bees are like one of the biggest pollinators on Earth because they collect pollen all their lives to feed their offsprings as a source of protein. So if we lose the crops because bees are going extinct, then global starvation will probably increase. So the world is ending.
Wait. Can someone tell me what pollination is exactly?
Because of my research, pollination is the act of transferring pollen grains from the male anther of a flower to the female stigma by wind, water, birds, and insects. In fact, insect pollination plays a crucial role in maintaining plant communities.
So if the bees are going extinct, then who's collecting all the pollen?
Exactly. So planting more local flowers will help keep the bees in the areas and prevent them from becoming extinct. So, for example, we could plant more local Saudi plants that could survive high temperatures, like sweet basil, African marigold, lavenders, all to protect pollinators.
Yeah, and last week, me and my friends participated in a Mountain Hissas move in order to plant plants all over Al-Hassa. And actually, they give out plants to anyone who wants to participate or has space.
That is a great idea. We should start a vegetable garden in my house this weekend.
I'm really sorry to get your spirits down, guys, but I just found out that although we plant crops and have millions of farms around the world, bees are being harmed by pesticides.
Why are pesticides harmful?
Let me check. Okay, so pesticides can be toxic to a host of another organism, including birds, fish, beneficial insects, and non-target plants.
So if it's really harmful, we should find alternatives for it.
I just found that biocontrol is one of the alternatives to using pesticides.
And how does biocontrol work?
Well, what I know about biocontrol is that it uses organisms that affect plant performance, and in this case, work as a natural pesticide.
I really want to know the details of biocontrol. I believe it's an interesting process. So it says here that there are 3 basic strategies for biocontrol. Classical, where a natural enemy of a pest is introduced in the hope of achieving control. Inductive, in which a large population of natural enemies are administered for quick pest control. And conservation, in which measures are taken to maintain natural enemies through regular re-establishment.
We have to find out if there are any disadvantages of biocontrol. Okay, so biocontrol can affect biodiversity by attacking non-target species. So the biocontrol agent needs to be studied before it becomes released, right?
On that note, I just remembered, I read somewhere that there was a biocontrol in Australia that went really wrong, where they introduced toads to a sugarcane crop field. And actually the toads couldn't reach that high for the sugar canes, so they started attacking the local animals and insects, which really harmed the ecosystem. But luckily they're back on track right now.
Oh, so biocontrol should be examined more than everything, right?
Yeah, because it could go wrong and destroy everything.
Yeah. Oh well, it looks like it's going to be a long day full of research.
I'm getting his coffee.
A world without bees means a world without honey, and a world without honey means a world without my tasty smoothies.
You can't be serious right now. Is that what's making you sad?
I know we've been talking about all these aspects brought up with climate change, but quick question, what even is climate change?
We really should have started with the basics, didn't we? But I have a way to help. We have Fatma Al-Arfaj and Kadi here to present what is climate change.
Animals are dying, diseases are spreading, natural disasters are increasing, but why? Animals are dying, diseases are spreading, natural disasters are increasing, but why is that?
It is because of climate change. Climate change has a disastrous and dreadful impacts on Earth. Climate change isn't just words. Climate change is a serious issue.
But the question is, what can we do for Earth's future generations? Climate change is basically a long-term change in temperature and weather patterns, which is caused by the waste of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere.
Due to climate change, sea level is rising, extreme weather conditions are prevailing, and global warming is increasing. Get to now notice the dangerous impact of climate change on Earth. You and I must take action.
To take action, substitute plastic bottles with reusable water bottles such as Hydro Flask, Yetis, or box water bottles. Can't we do that? Absolutely we can. 2. Substitute your plastic shopping bag that you shop with very often with a reusable shopping bag and support the MJI initiative and BEs that started in Atham and Hassamud. 3. Turn off the water while showering or brushing your teeth to reduce water. 4. Plant a tree or some flowers next to your house. This could also help in reducing the unhealthy air.
Do not think you're alone. Your own country, Saudi Arabia, is doing heaps of things to help Earth. Some examples of what Saudi Arabia has been doing is 1. NEOM. Saudi Arabia unveiled plans of a zero-carbon city within the projected NEOM zone. And a zero-carbon city means a city that runs entirely on renewable energy without any carbon dioxide production. 2. The Saudi Green Initiative, which aims to improve the quality of life and protect future generations. 3. The Green Riyadh project was launched as one of the major Riyadh projects. It aims to reduce air temperature by 2 Celsius through planting trees.
Now, and with the help of our country, we are going to combat climate change.
In the end, make sure you leave your place having already decided to take an action.
Spread awareness, cut plastics, plant a tree.
Wow, a free carbon dioxide city. We should visit it sometimes.
The flight is not on me though.
Bet.
Thank you for Fatma Arfaj and Kadi for presenting this speech now. And thank you for the boys section for attending with us today.
Now, for the girls section, we have one more part for you.
Give it up for the skit given by Lulu, Lafalik, Fatma Al-Ghannam, and Dana Al-Mullah.